Yeah, hey everybody, this is Ian from Mindful Marketplace, and in this short tutorial, I'm going to cover 10 types of books that are ideal for inspirational authors, mission-oriented marketers, and enlightened entrepreneurs. And maybe even more ambitiously or audaciously, I'm going to try to get this done before the three dogs in the background sitting behind me start barking like crazy, which I think is about to happen. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Book number 1 is a Leader's Light the Lamp book. And essentially this is a how I did X without doing Y, and so too can you sort of book. This is generally a story sort of book that has when I say story, it's your story as a leader, and you are illuminating a path or a process that other folks can follow. Again, there's a PDF download for all of these, so you can access that in your members area below. All right, number 2, a rules principles book. This is generally something like the 11 rules for writing a book that changes the world, or productize 7 timeless principles for turning your passion into perpetual piles of profit. So essentially all you're really trying to do here is, create some new rules or articulate some core principles that are unique to your process, your thinking, or, your program, let's say. All right, number 3, a Q&A book. An example would be something like 21 not so stupid questions about getting purpose, getting published, and getting paid. I really like these. I think they're actually the easiest to write, and I think these are actually the quintessential sorts of content marketing techniques for people who don't necessarily consider themselves to be natural authors or who struggle to write. So essentially all you're going to be doing here is articulating, questions that you can answer that demonstrate your experience or expertise. And it's really, really easy to do. And I'll say this really as an extemporaneous little extra thought here. Some people really find these books to be not books, right? So I've had people push back a little bit and say, can you really write a Q&A book that, is useful for building my brand? And I would say not only can you and not only should you, but they're actually some of the best sorts of books for entrepreneurs. And just in the last couple of days, and I'm recording this on the 9th of September 2020, I got an email from one of the big networks that we are an affiliate for as part of our Mindful Marketplace platform, letting us know about this really new book release, this exciting book release. These are their words. And the book is essentially called 108 Provocative Questions About Spiritual Growth, or something like that. It's a mindfulness-oriented book, in the healing, helping sort of niche. And I forget the top line title, but it is essentially 108 provocative questions about spiritual growth. I mean, that is the gist of the book. And I went and looked at the pre-release copy, and that's all it is each chapter is just a question that this author, who's fairly well known in the yoga space, poses, and then she answers in the service of illuminating, helping her reader get clear with regard to their own, inner life or whatever. So, these sorts of books, and I was just struck at how so many of the folks that I interact with, who are also in the mindfulness, yoga, helping, healing, life coaching, meditation sort of spaces, could write that same book with elegant and expeditious ease as quickly as she did, right? And, this is a big release from a publisher, Sounds True Publishing, that is, quite held in high esteem in that niche. All right, so the next one is number 4, a community curated book. And this is essentially, if you have a community like we do, you're essentially going to curate the content that some of your contributors offer in the service of publishing a short book. So for an example, mindfulness is ... 50 short stories on waking up, slowing down, and rediscovering magic, meaning, and mojo in everyday life. And each one of these 50, of course, 50 is probably too many. Let's say it was 12 or 20. You just get folks in your community to contribute a short missive or essay or thought stream on, what is mindfulness or whatever it is that your topic is, right? And this is a great way of connecting with your professional peers as well. All right, number 5, and I really want to move more quickly through these, so I'm going to make this second 5 a little more, I'm going to sort of speed this up. So a tips book, you gotta be kidding, 15 meditation tips for skeptics, cynics, and the curious but not convinced, right? So, tips on whatever it is that you do. It could be funny, it could be serious, and just kind of add, put a number in front of it, and you have a book of tips. All right, number 6, a how-to book. And again, this would be something that might demonstrate a series of steps or a recipe-style system for achieving a specific outcome. So, how to write a short book that changes the world. And then you would just essentially list out all of the, the steps that one would need to take in order to facilitate that end goal or outcome, which in this case would be writing a book that changes the world, right? And there's a bunch of reasons why I don't love how-to books. I've covered these in some other places, but I'm actually going to do a full recording on why I think that how-to books are actually the least beneficial for brand builders, for entrepreneurs, for teachers, and for people who really want to change the world with your work. And really in a really short form, you don't want to write a how-to book because essentially it doesn't build a bridge between your words in the book and your work in the world, right? You want to actually write a book that introduces an idea that inspires an experience. And a how-to book how-to books are usually self-contained, so there's not really an experience that you're inviting by dint of, finishing the book. And that's really what we focus on, and that's really what I think is most useful for entrepreneurs to focus on, having an end experience that you're inviting your audience to take when they complete your book. All right, number 7, a compilation book. In this case, you would just be curating your own best content, 12 unusually honest essays on launching a successful home-based business after 40, let's say, but you would, in this case, have 12 essays, right, that you've written about, your own journey to being an entrepreneur after 40. All right, number 8, a new way / old way book. And these are really fun and easy to write. And essentially all you're really doing is contrasting an old way of solving a problem with a new way. These are really easy to write because they're easy to demonstrate empathy by articulating an old way that you used to struggle with and that you wasted a lot of time on, and then suggesting a better, newer way that actually works really well right now. Number 9, an objections book. And essentially you would just be listing common objections to making progress on a particular path or process. And then you essentially just overcome those objections by virtue of offering, advice that helps your audience overcome very common objections. Something like, intermittent fasting, let's say. People say, well, I have to eat, 3 times a day because it's healthy. And then you would just, articulate, that's a common objection, let's say. And then you would just articulate, how maybe that's not true, that eating 3 times a day is better. And, here is why eating between 5 and 7 is not only PM is not only easier, it's better on your budget, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just making this up on the fly, so it probably sounds a little awkward, but all you're really doing is taking very common objections like, I can't do it because, and then you're articulating those and then overcoming those objections in a book. So again, not to stick on this for too long, but, I can't, like meditation book might, articulate all the common objections that someone would have to why they can't meditate. And then you would, like, I can't quiet my mind, I can't turn off my thought, whatever those things are. And then you would just address those individually, chapter by chapter, and help folks, reach an exciting epiphany that they can actually do the thing they really ultimately want to accomplish. All right. And number 10, I call a Launch It With Less book. And this is a really simple heuristic for writing short books that are easy to write, that are impactful, that get read quickly, and that really have a positive impact on your ideal audience. And essentially, they follow this very specific template: 1, introduction; 2, core concept; 3, a single exercise or technique; 4, common challenges; 5, questions and answers; 6, small ask; and then 7, big ask. So you're actually writing the entire book through that flowchart, right? You're introducing yourself and the book. You're presenting a core concept that's maybe something that's different than other books that are similar to yours, or other books in the niche, and you're just introducing maybe a problem or a challenge. It's just one core concept, and then the rest of the book is a single exercise or technique that is ideal for overcoming or addressing that concept. And then you just articulate the challenges that people have. You list some questions and answers. You have small ask, which are the micro commitments you're asking your readers to do at the end of, let's say, each chapter. And then the big ask is how you're asking your audience to take this new information out into the world with them in the service of some big, common goal. All right, so hope that helps. That's all 10. There's a PDF download available for those of you in our community. And if you have any questions about writing a book or using this sort of template to teach a course or to sell products, feel free to reach out to me, hi@mindfulmarketplace.com, or join us in the community below. Okie doke. Thanks so much for listening, and I'm grateful the dogs behaved. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.